This mutation is called Scary Scavengers and it is being played on Dead of Night. We have 2 mutators active, we have Slim Pickings, and we have Outbreak. So you might notice these are first time submitters. I do encourage everybody to watch us, and if you're interested in doing these brutal mutations and you want your game casted, I do encourage you guys to send your replays in. They don't necessarily have to be meme kind of builds, although I do prefer them, but this is just going to be a straight up game, and if you want your games casted, you are very welcome to do so. So let's have a look at the masteries while the players do get set up here. We have the Strikefire AoE size, we have the significant other bonuses, and we have roughly even split into the Airfleet Magmine cooldown mastery. And for Stukov, we have the Volatile Infested, we have the Apocalypse cooldown, and then we have the Infantry Duration mastery as well. Hand Horner is a great commander for this mission. Hand Horner's one of the biggest advantages of playing Hand Horner on this mission is that you can use your strike fire platforms to start clearing these structures out even during the nighttime. And Hand Horner actually have one of the fastest clears on this mission. I played a game some time ago, and I was able to clear this. I was able to clear out all 151 infested structures before night number 3. So that is how fast you can actually clear this mission out. My ally basically did nothing that game because he was playing defensive Garax, but Hand Horner is just a great commander for this mission. Now, one of the things that does slow this whole thing down is the fact that you have the Slim Pickings Mutator, which reduces the amount of resources your workers mine from these mineral patches. So every single mineral patch you'll see, you're only building up 1 resource count. So generally what you want to do here is you want to do this, what Hand Horner is doing, or at least you can individually micro your units to try and pick up these individual pickups. The other thing you can do is just put them on patrol. So what I normally do is I just have them just patrolling back and forth, and eventually as these mineral patches start coming out, you can go and pick up some value you just automatically pick up these resources. The other thing is when you're playing Dead of Night is that during the starting day, when you have no infested units spawn, you should move your SCVs out of your base here and actually start picking up some of these things, because it does help a little bit. You see this one junker here that's trying to deal and try and attacking this SCV, but now we have a bunker out and this will be fine as well. Bunker Stukov is very, very strong on this mission. Stukov is a very strong defensive commander. His infested siege tanks are really good. His bunkers regenerate HP. His bunkers have the extra range as well. Once you start getting the upgrades for the infested marines and the infested troopers, it increases the range. He's just a really great commander for this mission. And especially if you're trying to hold indefinitely throughout the course of this, it does help a lot. And you can see Strike Fire is already out for Hand Horner because this is what the plan is. And I'm actually glad to see this kind of strategy here, is that the Strike Fires is going to get used to start clearing out the infested structures. Now, the one thing to note is that if you want the Strike Fires to be effective, you do need to get the Napalm upgrade to be able to take out the infested structures in 1 airstrike. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you might actually need a couple of airstrikes to take out the infested structures, which is not very effective. So what I normally do now is, there's a bit of downtime between the Napalm upgrade and when you can actually use your Strike Fires, and these things are already up. I normally fire a Strike Fire over here with this thing off cooldown, the space station reallocation, and I drop a space station reallocation over there instantly to just start clearing that out. And additionally, what I also do is that I start firing them in random directions around the map, so just I get a bunch of waypoints as to where I want to fire, because there are some areas on this mission where you can get 4 or even 5 infested structures with 1 strike. So you kind of want to position those things correctly. There's one spot over here, I think near the top. There is another one over here, I think, as well. And there's, I think, maybe 2 in this corner here. So just getting your bearings and seeing where the infested structures are, it does make it a little bit easier when it comes to positioning the airstrikes a little bit better once you have your Napalm upgrade. And you can see that is what's coming up here. We have the Napalm upgrade that is being researched. So just using that to just get a little bit of vision around the map so you're not blindly shooting into the dark, it does make it a little bit easier when it comes to firing your precision strikes when it actually matters. You can see here Stukov has already set up a defensive perimeter. We have a bunch of Widow Mines as well coming up for Hand Horner. Hand Horner has a surplus of minerals, so building up these Widow Mines as well, it's really good, just to provide their ally with a little bit of support, make sure they're not ending up losing out this stuff. And you can see now we have some airstrikes. You can see this is exactly what I meant here. That one structure was missed. You can put an airstrike right down the middle, and We have now also a call in the fleet here, and this will end up picking off some of these structures as well in this location. And what I might actually do is I might switch over to Stukov's view, and that will make it so that the minimap doesn't always disappear. So I'm going to also hide the text so there's not too much spam there for the little text chat. But I think for the most part this is going to be okay. We have Stukov also pushing out now. And the other thing you can do with Stukov, as you can see that he's done over here, is he's unloaded his bunkers during the morning time. So that just gives you a little bit of burst pushing potential. And you can see some of these infested units are aggroing some of these Zerg units as well. But what you can do is to just unload your bunkers to just provide yourself with a little bit more value here. You see strike fires being used. The only difficult part for these strike fires is the infested biodome. This thing is a little bit more difficult to deal with because this thing takes, I think, 2 or 3 airstrikes to take out. So generally what I do is I just go and I clear out the smaller infested structures first, and then as I remember that I missed a biodome, I just end up dropping an airstrike on them, and eventually you clear them out through the course of the mission. You see, so far we have 3 strike fire platforms for Handhorner. It is going to be a little bit difficult for Handhorner to be able to get the other strike fire platforms up because they are actually short on the gas. You can see again here, there's one very good shot that could be dropped right in the middle. So it's that kind of inefficiency that you can take advantage of in the early game when you can't really use your strike fire platforms to clear. Just getting vision of the map, just shooting them in random directions, so just you know where your infested structures are. It does speed the mission up a little bit. Just see the level of macro that is being used here. No gas float right now for Handhorner, and very minimal float here for Stukov. Stukov is probably going to be focusing down on bunkers first, I think, before they start getting out their siege tanks. Siege tanks also in the backline do make a big difference. So interesting to see what happens there. Okay, we have more strike fire platforms as well coming out here. Some more of Stukov's infested. They're starting to start clearing out some of these Zergling units here, but it doesn't really matter whether they clear out these areas or not. It's not really much of an issue. But day number 2 is coming to an end, and now it is going to be a little bit more difficult because this barricade thing is going to be going, it's called debris apparently. This thing is going to be going down, and there's going to be a bunch of infested units that will be knocking on these commander's doorsteps, and we have already a bunch of bunkers that are queued up, getting ready for appearing here. One random hero Widowmine has picked up like about 100 minerals right now for these commanders, and I think these Widowmines will be fine. There are lots of Burrow Widowmines here. They'll be able to deal with these. Magmines are not going to last too long because they will end up aggroing random infested units, but they will stall the attack waves a little bit. One thing you can do as Handhorner as well is just drop some Widowmines, or not Widowmines, some Magmines onto this debris, because usually it's the first push that is really difficult to deal with because there are a lot of aberrations there. So once they actually break these debris, they will aggro the Magmines and you'll clear up that big chunk of units that have built up on the back line here. So that reduces the amount of pressure onto your static defense. There is one Widowmine here. I don't know how long it's going to last because it's probably going to be something that will be detecting it before it ends up going down. But you can see that these units are starting to gather right now, and we have a few issues here for these commanders. Yeah, you can see these Widowmines doing a really good job. Have the Widowmine upgrades been researched yet? Execution missiles has been upgraded in research. I think this is the next one as well for the Widowmines. Again, this is a really great upgrade for these commanders. And now we have a problem because that is a spotter, and the spotter is more than happy to sit and disable your structures and your bunkers and everything else. We have an Apocalypse that gets dropped, and that Apocalypse will end up cleaning up everything here. That one spotter is completely wrecked by the Apocalypse barrage of missiles. And now we have another thing over here as well. And this is one of the reasons why these things are one of the most annoying units in the game. You just sit and they disable everything over here. What you need to do is you just have to overwhelm the spotter. You just build a large chunk of missile turrets on the back line, and that way the spotter has nothing they can do to deal with the onslaught of static defense here, because that is the only way of dealing with these things I found. See here as well, them being annoying. They're going to start harassing Stukov's extractor. And yeah, this is why these spotters are just so annoying. You can see Handhorner working full time right now. Unfortunately, not hitting. One thing you can do with Handhorner, I'm not sure if they are aware of what they can do. But instead of dealing with one individual structure at a time, what you can do is with your range upgrade, because I think Handhorner has that strike fire AoE, you can actually fire in between the two structures instead of hitting the structure directly. And when you do that, you can actually take out more than one at a time. So this will speed up the mission significantly quickly. So That's something else that can be done as well. Again, a bunch of spars as well. They will end up getting, or they will end up dodging these mag mines here. You see, they're just going full ham right now, completely disabling a lot of these structures here. There was a baby. There's a baby overseer next to a big overseer. Next to the mama overseer over there, and that also ended up getting cleared out. And so far, let us take a look at what the mission completion is. So we are at 107. There are still 106 structures left on this mission, so it's still a while before these commands end up doing it before clearing. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's clearing that out just with one napalm upgrade right in the middle. You get a lot of good value for this, and you can see here right there, getting those structures out as well. 3 structures at a time, very good value here for these strike fighters. But now Handhorner is actually starting to build up some more strike fire platforms, so they will start clearing out a little bit faster as they start building up their resources as well. So we do have a few more. How many strike fires do they have right now? They're sitting at a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they're close to maxing out now the strike fire platforms. That's actually really good. Once they have that maximum number of strike fire platforms, they can start investing their gas into other stuff. So they can start either building wraiths and battlecruisers and start pushing out into these missions, into these areas here. Especially the less well-defended areas, such as this one. You can actually clear with your ground army, and then whatever is more fortified, you can just clear with your strike fire platforms. That's also one option that can be done. So really up to how these players choose to deal with this mission. But it looks like they just want to go for the strike fire platforms, and that's, you see here, like for example here, I think you can probably get 3 in one shot. It really depends here. And you can see here, it's like that's the 4 in one shot I was talking about earlier as well. You can get them, but it requires vision. It's a little bit tricky to get if you're not really paying attention to, or if you're not really aware, or if you're a little bit inexperienced, or if you don't even have vision, because it's really difficult to get that exact spot. There's just like one spot you can have to hit there. You can see Stukov already starting to push through as well with his army. Bunkers already as well. But there seems to be some random units that are spawning as well. They're continuing to aggro this player commander's bases. But I think overall, in terms of completion, we are at 83 structures left at the 151. So they're about a little bit under halfway through. But now that Handhorner has their strike fire platforms, they will be good to go. Now we can see that, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Handhorner now is going to start building up their assault galleons, and they're just going to start building up an army now, so they can start pushing and start clearing, and so they don't have to play this mission very much. See, very nice shot right into the middle there. It's a lot of value for these strike fire platforms, and again, that's another 5-6 structures gone. And now, night number 3 is going to begin, which means that there are 2 things that are going to happen, which means that this area is going to get cleared. This area is going to get cleared, but it also means that we are going to be getting the boss infested units. So it's either going to be a stank or it's going to be a Nihus worm, and either of those might be a bit problematic. So Handhorner will have to work overtime to try and clear out as much of those structures as possible. And we have a bunch of siege tanks as well for Stukov, and these siege tanks are going to be amazing at defending against the infested units, because siege tanks are actually great. They deal so much splash damage, especially with the vault infested. So they should have no problems, absolutely no problems defending, especially with Handhorner's Widow Mines as well on the front line. That choker causing a few problems as well. Being really annoying with this choking upgrade and its long range choker thing here. One thing you can actually do is get an overseer on the top line here, and that'll provide a little bit of vision for these siege tanks to actually start shelling away at this choker. But for the most part, I think everything should be okay. There are no bunkers on this site, and this area is taking a little bit of damage, so I think the Alexander may have to come down, or maybe even the space station reallocation. But you can see Handhorner is just focusing down and now trying to get some vision of this area. Just wants to try and deal with this. We have the Alexander coming down for Stukov, and Stukov will be defending this side without too many problems. A few with the mines on the back line as well, but Stukov will need to put down some bunkers before the Alexander times out, because that is going to be a problem, because night is still 2 minutes and 20 seconds away. We have some strike fires that get used to try and stall the onslaught of these units here, but we have, again, more strike fires being used to start clearing out these infested structures. You can see here, shots right into the middle of the infested structures. Very good value here for these strike fire platforms. You can get a lot of good value here as well. Some more spars being annoying, just disabling random enemy, random commander structures. You can see how just all these bunkers are just gone right now. And that is why these spars are just so annoying. And we see that we have stanks on the way, and this is going to be very challenging for these commands to deal with, because I don't know if there is any semblance of ground army. We do have an Apocalypse here, so maybe the Apocalypse might get dropped to try and deal with a stank, because the stank is going to deal so much damage to the structures if nothing else. We have a space station reallocation onto the tank. Unfortunately, the space station reallocation will not one-shot this tank. It deals only 500 damage to the heroic unit here. I think it's 500 or 1000 damage. I can't remember. I think it's 500. So is definitely not a one-shot, and now it is a duel of the fat ultralisks. It is Stank versus Apocalypse. Who is going to win? There's Assault Galleons shelling in front of the back line as well. I think the Stank might end up losing to the Apocalypse because the Apocalypse does have some health. This is just going to be a duel of the ages. Stank now does a headbutt, stuns the Apocalypse, and now this random choker as well that is going to try and join in the fray, try and help as well. Assault Galleons with the hangar bays as well, dealing a little bit of damage to the Stank. And now we have a bunch of bunkers as well. And that one choker has avoided all of the mag mines because that has 500 IQ from Amon. Amon completely trolling right now. And now these Withermind are going to start aggroing the Stank, dealing so much damage. And unfortunately, some of the Witherminds, the choker actually ends up aggroing some of these things from the hangar base, so that is keeping these Assault Galleons alive right now. These things will have to be replaced, but it's not really too much of a problem. And Horror now is going to start clearing out the rest of these infested structures. This is the free time now to try and deal with this. There is a Zergling run by Amon's army, but you can see Strike Fire platforms working overtime right now to try and clear out these infested structures. So these ones are all completely cleared out right now. More infested structures when they're getting cleared. Over here, Stukov is going to be pushing in as well with his infested units, trying to clear out some of these Zerg units as well in the process. Fortunately, it's very difficult to try and ignore these units with your Stukov because these things, your infested units are not very strong. We now have also a call on the fleet here just to try and take out as many infested structures as possible. Some more Strike Fire platforms being used to try and clear out these infested structures in this location. And over here we have some aberrations that are over just hanging around here. I don't know if this is going to go into night number 4. You kind of do not really want to extend that much because now you're going to get double stanks, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. What are we at in terms of completion? There are 33 infested structures left, so this is very doable in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Handhorn will just have to try very hard to start clearing out as much of those infested structures as possible, because that is where it gets a little bit tricky. Fire is being used, the napalm upgrades are being used very effectively, and I think all that is left. Stukov has not reallocated his infested units, so they're just standing right now on top of this lurker here that's just ending up killing them. But there's some random aberrations that are spawning for some random reason. I'm not really sure where they're coming from.
Our allies are in combat.
Oh, they are from the Outbreak Mutator. I forgot this thing was active. I even forgot this thing was active. Okay. Like, where are these aberrations coming from? So at the 20-minute mark on this mutation, you actually start getting aberrations spawning from all enemy structures. So that's where these aberrations are coming from. There's another chunk here that will be coming up. But again, really they stand no chance against the defenses that have been put down for these commanders. We are at 19 infested structures left, and Horner is working overtime right now. They do not want to extend this until the second stank starts coming out, because that is going to be a problem. We have the Apocalypse that also gets dropped here for Stukov just to try and focus down this structure and this biodome. Because the biodomes is the ones that gives Han Horner a bit of a problem. So that is going to be, there are 12 infested structures left on the map. This can be cleared. That's one shot right there. We'll end up clearing out that. There's another one here. This biodome is going to be a bit of a problem, and there's, I think, maybe some more structures, I think maybe hiding in the side. But I think that is basically it for these commanders. They're basically done. 7 structures left here. One nice shot right down the middle. We'll end up taking, oh no, it was a miss there. It was a miss onto that one infested structure, so that will end up having to be cleared up by the Apocalypse, unfortunately. But they are down to 5 infested structures left, and this is basically game over. They have won the game now, because by the time the stank spawns, I think they will have cleared out whatever is left here. There are a few more siege tanks shelling away at these aberrations, trying to clear all of this out. I can't believe I actually forgot Outbreak was active. There's just so many infested units, it's so difficult to keep track of which is which. That is the first stank. All that is left now is that one biodome here. I do not know if they want to do the bonus objective. I don't think they're interested. There's a biodome gone, and those are all the infested structures on this mission cleared, and that is GG.